Happy Halloween, guys! But I know most of you are celebrating Halloween, even though you probably shouldn't for obvious reasons. Look, today is Halloween, and on top of Halloween, there is a much more special thing behind this day. And the fact is, 17 years ago, Satoshi Nakamoto released the Bitcoin white paper, and I think he's an absolute legend for doing that. So technically, Bitcoin has like two birthdays, and this is one of those two birthdays. So happy birthday to Bitcoin. And instead of trick or treating, which will get you a lot of sugar and maybe even make you a little bit wider, I think you can spend tonight studying Bitcoin and understanding how it's going to set you financially free. I think that's going to be a more productive thing to do. And I'm saying this on a crypto channel because I know a lot of you don't own Bitcoin. You own crypto, like altcoins, but you don't own Bitcoin. And that's why most of you are frustrated about how this cycle is going. Benjamin Cohen, one of the biggest analysts and I think one of the best YouTubers in the space, he highlighted one of the comments in his videos. Look, they said, the worst thing that ever happened to me was entering crypto. 202 likes in 2 hours. That's unbelievable. People are depressed. When you go to the price of Bitcoin in this cycle, we've appreciated by 7x since the bottom of this cycle. Bitcoin is going up. Bitcoin has gone up by 7x. And the reason why, even though that's the case, the reason why most people are frustrated is because most people trade altcoins and they're only in altcoins. And when you look at only altcoins, this is the only altcoins charts, excluding Ethereum, you're in an ascending triangle, and we've been consolidating for a while. Yes, we've gone up in value and all, but we haven't done so much. Bitcoin's growth has been more explosive, and altcoins have lagged behind. That's the simple fact. And we can add Bitcoin USD to this chart to visualize what I'm talking about. Look, Bitcoin has gone up so much more in comparison to altcoins. You can understand the frustration. But the good news is, Fed Chair Powell this week announced the beginning of quantitative, or the ending of quantitative tightening in December. Whereas Bitcoin doesn't necessarily need a huge injection of liquidity to begin pumping, altcoins do. When you go to the Bitcoin charts and you look at the Federal Reserve balance sheets, let's go the Fed balance sheets. In 2020, obviously everything went bananas because we had huge amounts of quantitative easing. But in 2017, Bitcoin still did a very, very good job without quantitative easing. There was quantitative tightening, actually. So when Bitcoin was going up here, there was no QE. No QE was present, and we were still able to go upwards. But when it comes to altcoins, I know that 2017 is synonymous with the ICO bubble and the ICO season, which led to an altcoin rally. But you need to understand that in 2017, the reason why you mostly got altcoin season was because there was so little altcoins present. Let me explain the genius to my madness. So today, there are millions of cryptos. But in 2017, there was roughly about 1,000 to 3,000 cryptocurrencies. When Bitcoin went to $20,000, to take profits, you wouldn't traditionally always go into stablecoins. USDT, the largest stablecoin in the world, only had a $2 billion market cap. Farcoin has almost a $2 billion market cap. And stablecoins would depeg often. So most people would actually take profits into altcoin pairs. Hence, you got an altcoin run upwards. And my argument is, because that is the case with 2017, and you don't have any other prior data because altcoins didn't exist in the Genesis cycle, I think 2017, we only went up because of that theory. And then in the last cycle, you had quantitative easing, and that led to banana hella. And you go to this cycle, we haven't had quantitative easing, and look at what's happening. Bitcoin is going massively, much more to the upside. This should be, yeah, so this is the like sort of better comparison. Bitcoin is going bananas, but altcoins are still drifting around. And for them to see explosive growth, we need to see quantitative easing. And luckily, it's going to hopefully start in Q1 of 2026. And the main point that I'm trying to make is, from my trading perspective, which if you want to trade, links are down below. Trading bots, you can use Pinex. Weeks, you can use the Weeks link. I'm still bullish until trends flip bearish, and trends flipping bearish would happen if we started to print a lower low which would mean that Bitcoin is at 70K and lower highs, that would mean the trend is flipping bearish. That would be too late though. So I'm focusing on the 54 simple and the bull and bear market support band on the weekly time frame. If these two cross over, then I'm out. So far, so good. So far, there's still nothing to worry about yet. So hence, I'm still very much bullish. I'm positioned in a bullish way. And I think Bitcoin is going to follow liquidity, and quantitative easing will be great because that directly translates to the business cycle chart. And according to the business cycles, this move that we've had from the start of the bear market to where we are now is comparable to the move that was experienced back in 2019 right over here. So this move, according to the business cycles, is the same as this move here. And if you look at the Fed balance sheet, it will all make sense. So new price scale, that was the end of QT, and this is the end of QT. So when QE begins, then you should see an even more parabolic move to the upside according to that statement. Again, another reason why I'm still very much bullish. A cool thing that I want to share with you before letting you go, it's quite interesting. The inverse Kramer has a higher win rate over the past year compared to the Nancy Pelosi tracker, which we know is a pretty big joke in crypto. But the bigger joke in crypto is Jamie Dimon and his hatred against cryptocurrencies. Even though he hates it, look at what he said yesterday on a panel discussion with Larry Fink. Here you go.
Skeptical of crypto at one point. You're still skeptical.
I've gotten away with no damage so far. Crypto is real. If you mean blockchain, stable coins, you have a JP Morgan deposit coin, you can move stuff, smart contracts are real, all that stuff is real. It will be used by all of us to facilitate better transactions and customer service.
Look at how happy he was. Look at how happy he was talking about crypto. And I think he was embarrassed. If he said that crypto was bad, because Larry Fink was there, then Larry Fink would be like, hold on, we just had the most successful ETF in history with Bitcoin. Ethereum is also up there, so what are you talking about? So to not embarrass himself, maybe that's why he was bullish. But yeah, I just thought it was pretty funny to share. Guys and girls, with that said, make sure to celebrate Bitcoin's white paper day accordingly. And remember that every single Halloween, overall, the trend is bullish. Look at the prices, 2010 Halloween, 2017 Halloween, 2012 Halloween, so on and so forth. So if you're accumulating Bitcoin in the long term, statistically, you're always winning. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys all on the next video very soon. Bye-bye.